They say the night shift changes you. I used to think that was just something people said to make themselves feel special, like a badge of honor for surviving the hours when the world goes quiet and the shadows get longer. But after a decade as a 911 dispatcher, I know better. The night doesn't change you, it reveals you. Most nights, the calls blur together. Drunks, accidents, the occasional break-in. I learned to keep my voice steady, my mind sharp, my heart locked away. You can't let it get to you, or you'll drown in other people's panic. That's what I tell the rookies anyway, but there was one night I can't file away with the rest. It started like any other. Coffee gone cold, the hum of fluorescent lights, the city breathing slow and heavy outside my window. Then the phone rang, and everything shifted. The caller ID showed a local number. I answered, my voice calm, professional. On the other end, a man's voice, soft, almost gentle. He told me his name, but I knew it was fake. He said he needed help, but he didn't sound afraid. He sounded curious, like he was testing me. He described a room, the color of the carpet, the way the lamp cast shadows on the wall, the smell of something metallic in the air. He spoke in present tense, as if he was there right now. Then he told me about the woman lying on the floor, her phone pressed to his ear. He described her eyes, wide open, staring at nothing. I tried to trace the call, to send help, but he hung up before I could finish. The police found the woman an hour later, just as he'd described. No sign of the caller, no fingerprints, no witnesses. Just a phone, still warm in her hand. The next night he called again. Different number, different victim. Always the same calm voice, the same careful details. He never raised his voice, never laughed, never threatened. He just narrated, like he was reading from a script only he could see. I started to notice patterns, the way he described the rooms, the way he lingered on certain details. He left clues, little breadcrumbs hidden in his words. At first I thought he wanted to be caught, but the more I listened, the more I realized he wanted me to understand. And I did. I understood better than anyone. I stopped sleeping. Every time the phone rang, my pulse spiked, not from fear, but from anticipation. I started to crave his calls, the way some people crave a cigarette after a long day. The city outside faded into a blur of sirens and headlights, but his voice cut through the noise, sharp and clear. He never called before midnight. That was his rule, and I respected it. Midnight is when the world feels thin, when secrets slip through the cracks. I'd sit in my chair, fingers drumming on the desk, waiting for the line to light up. Sometimes I'd imagine I could hear his breathing before he even dialed. The police set up task forces, profilers, all the usual theater. They asked me questions, showed me sketches, played me recordings. I told them what they wanted to hear. I played my part, but I never told them about the patterns I saw. The way his clues fit together like pieces of a puzzle only I could solve. He started leaving messages just for me. He'd mention things no one else could know. The color of my tie, the song playing faintly on the radio behind me, the way I tapped my pen when I was thinking. He was watching, always watching. I should have been afraid, but I wasn't. I felt seen. One night, he described a house I recognized. The peeling paint, the broken swing in the yard, the way the porch light flickered in the wind. It was my neighbor's place, just across the street. I watched from my window as the police cars pulled up, lights flashing red and blue against the darkness. I could see the outline of my own face reflected in the glass, calm and expressionless. After that, the calls got closer. He started using voices I knew, my supervisor, a friend from high school, even my own. He mimicked their words, their laughter, their little habits. It was like he was peeling back the layers of my life, one call at a time. I realized then that this wasn't about the victims. It was about me. He was drawing me in, testing me, seeing how far I'd go to keep up the game. And I played along because I couldn't help myself. I started to see him everywhere, even when the phone was silent. A shadow at the edge of the parking lot, a figure in the corner of the diner where I grabbed my midnight coffee. Sometimes I'd catch a glimpse of someone watching me from across the street, but when I looked again, there was nothing but empty darkness. The city felt smaller, the walls of my world closing in. The calls became more frequent, more intimate. He described not just the rooms, but the people, how they moved, what they feared, the secrets they whispered when they thought no one was listening. He spoke about loneliness, about the ache of being unseen, about the thrill of holding someone's life in your hands. His words echoed in my mind long after the line went dead. I stopped talking to my coworkers. They noticed, of course. They whispered about me in the break room, shot me nervous glances when they thought I wasn't looking. I didn't care. They didn't understand. They couldn't. Only he did. One night, he called from a number I didn't recognize. The voice on the other end was different, higher, trembling, almost familiar. He described a room I knew too well. The faded wallpaper, the ticking clock, the stack of old case files on the desk. My desk. My office. He told me about the person sitting in my chair, hands shaking, eyes darting to the door. He described the way the light flickered overhead, the way the shadows stretched across the floor. He described me. I listened, heart pounding, as he recited details only I could know. The scar on my wrist, the chipped mug I used for coffee, the way I always checked the lock twice before leaving. He was inside the building. Maybe he always had been. I stood up, the chair scraping against the floor, and looked around. The office was empty, silent, except for the hum of the air conditioner. But I could feel him there, just out of sight, waiting. That's when I realized the game was almost over, and I wasn't sure which side I was on anymore. The last call came at 2:17 a.m. I remember the exact time because I was staring at the clock, willing the night to end. The phone rang, and I answered before the first ring finished, my voice steady, almost eager. But this time, there was no voice on the other end. Just breathing, slow, measured, familiar. I waited, listening to the silence stretch out, feeling the weight of it settle on my chest, then a whisper. My name, not the one on my badge, but the one I hadn't heard in years, the one only family used. My blood ran cold. He described a house I knew better than any other. The creak of the floorboards, the scent of old books, the photograph on the mantelpiece. He described a woman asleep in her bed, unaware of the danger just outside her door. My mother. I stood up so fast my chair toppled over. My hands shook as I dialed her number, but the line was busy. I ran out into the night, the city blurring past me, sirens wailing in the distance. I reached her house just as the first patrol car pulled up, lights flashing, neighbors gathering on their lawns. Inside, everything was as he'd described. The door was unlocked, the air heavy with fear. My mother was safe but shaken, clutching the phone to her chest. The police found the second phone, my phone, hidden in the bushes outside, still connected to the dispatch line. They asked me questions I couldn't answer. They found evidence I couldn't explain, call logs, recordings, notes in my handwriting. The clues I thought I'd hidden so well, the patterns only I could see, all laid out in the open. The game was over. They took me away in handcuffs, the flashing lights painting the world in red and blue. I didn't struggle. I didn't speak. I watched the city slip away behind the glass, the night pressing in on all sides. Now, the only calls I hear are in my head. The voices echo in the darkness, replaying every detail, every secret, every lie. The world outside moves on without me, and I am left alone with the truth I can never escape. The night doesn't change you. It reveals you. And in the end, it revealed me for what I really am.